The message the rest of the WNBA tried to send Caitlin reminded me more of the physicality Blake Griffin received early in his career when he was buzzing, and everybody was trying to give him hard fouls and send a message to him as well. But we need to chill in thinking that somebody's going to come around and be as skilled as Steph Curry. I don't think it's going to happen in the NBA, the WNBA, or any other NBA you can create.
Do you see any comparisons in the way like she shoots to your people compared to the way you shoot? Do you see anything?
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot it's like that. It's at that level. But if you really watch, like her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package.
What's good, everybody? It's Anthony Goods here with another breakdown. And today we have a highly requested topic. Stephen Curry and Caitlin Clark, two of the deadliest shooters in the game. Both had electric rookie seasons, which had fans thinking, could we be looking at the next big thing? So let's compare their rookie years and see how they both stacked up in their introduction to the pro level of basketball. All right, so let's start with the basics. Caitlin Clark, everybody's been talking about her since her days in Iowa, where she just had a killer instinct, was shooting the logo three-pointers, and she just had this ability to take over games, and she took America by storm. I mean, everybody was rushing to the TV to watch an Iowa game. There was something special about her and the way that she carried herself and the way that she played the game. It really just had the entire basketball world captivated. Then you got Stephen Curry, who came to the NBA in 2009, and he had a similar story when he was at Davidson. He took the world by storm with his performances in March Madness because we had never seen a player shooting this volume of three-pointers, but also, the range was also a factor as well. Back then in basketball, like if your toes weren't hugging the three-point line, it was considered a bad shot. Steph was pulling up from everywhere. He had a green light like most of us didn't back in 2009. So what he was doing was definitely special. He wasn't the tallest or strongest or most athletic player, but you could definitely tell there was some star potential in him. And pretty much the whole sports world was wondering, is his game going to translate because of his lack of physical features? Both of them entered the rookie seasons with huge expectations, Caitlin being this darling phenom and Steph being this underdog that took over March Madness. And it's kind of interesting to see how their stats compare. First off, you can't mention either of them without mentioning scoring. And when I evaluate scores, I always like to look at what I call shot diet. What kind of shots are you taking, making, and getting? Caitlin was a volume shooter, much like Steph was in his rookie year with the Warriors, but beyond their shooting, the way they scored the ball was very similar. When we look at Caitlin's rookie season, she averaged 19, 5, and 8 in her rookie year. She led the league in assists, set countless records, was dropping dimes from well beyond the arc, and you could tell she wasn't afraid of anything, much like Steph was when he was young.
The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark.
Steph, on the other hand, averaged 17, 4, and 5 assists with the Warriors, and while he wasn't Steph that we know now, you can see the foundation in his shooting skills being laid. It's very difficult to compare numbers because the leagues are so different, but we see them both getting shots on and off the ball, making IQ reads to get open for scoring opportunities. One thing we saw play out later in Steph's career that I think we're seeing early on from Caitlin is an elite finisher. She finished 49% of her buckets in the paint. And I think when you couple her ability to stretch the floor from the perimeter as well as finish at the rim, I think that is going to be a huge advantage for her, being able to score the ball, later in her career. One thing we have to consider is positional size. Caitlin is a 6-foot point guard in the WNBA, which is a big point guard. And with Steph being a 6'3" point guard in the NBA, it was not such an advantage, especially since his body was more on the slighter side. Another similarity is their playmaking. Both Steph and Caitlin weren't just shooters, they were floor generals. Caitlin averaged 8 assists, as I said before, which led the league, and Steph averaged just under 6. But it wasn't just the numbers. You have to look at how they were setting their teammates up and delivering these passes with accuracy. They drew so much defensive attention that it made the game easier for everyone around them. They didn't just score, they orchestrated the offense. And of course, we got to talk about the competition and the pressure. Caitlin came into the league with everybody knowing her name, and Steph did as well, but there was a lot more doubt because of his body, and he came from a mid-major school, so there weren't so many believers. Both faced relentless defensive schemes, but their confidence never wavered. If you remember Steph's rookie year, every team had an elite NBA point guard. It was beginning to be that point guard era of NBA basketball. But if you think about it, defenses were still kind of daring him to shoot deep threes, which sounds crazy now, but back then, not a lot of guys were doing that. And it was the same with Caitlin. Opposing teams were trying everything to stop her, but she found ways to adapt. I will say the defensive attention Caitlin was getting was more schematic and physical. The message the rest of the WNBA tried to send Caitlin reminded me more of the physicality Blake Griffin received early in his career when he was buzzing, and everybody was trying to give him hard fouls and send a message to him as well. With all that being said, Caitlin's mental toughness had to be on another level with what she was dealing with on the court and off the court with social and traditional media. In my opinion, a lot of the hate and the physicality was uncalled for, but I have a lot of respect for her for being able to perform in spite of all of those factors. Now let's look at what came next. Steph went on to revolutionize the game with his shooting, and his impact on the NBA was massive. Caitlin also had a huge impact this year on the WNBA, and she's just getting started. While I don't think it's fair to compare the two and say that Caitlin is going to become Steph Curry, because I don't think anybody is going to become Steph Curry, I think Caitlin is going to have an amazing career, and what she's going to do for the WNBA will be similar to the impact that Steph Curry has had on the NBA. But we need to chill in thinking that somebody's going to come around and be as skilled as Steph Curry. I don't think it's going to happen in the NBA, the WNBA, or any other NBA you can create. So who had the better rookie seasons? Tough to say. Different leagues, different competitions. Obviously, Steph's team didn't make the playoffs. We saw Caitlin's playoff run just end last night. Let me know in the comments, do you see Caitlin following in Steph's footsteps, or do you think she's going to kind of create her own legacy and revolutionize the game in a completely different way? If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll be sure to keep more videos like this coming. Until next time, keep shooting, and I'll keep scouting.